Mostar is one of our favorite cities that we've ever traveled to and is truly a hidden gem in the Balkan region. But it can be difficult putting together all of the information you need for a successful trip. So in this travel guide, we're walking you through everything you need to know to plan a trip to Mostar. If you're traveling to Mostar, chances are you'll be arriving at the city's west bus station. This is about a 15-minute drive or 40-minute walk to Mostar's gorgeous old town. We traveled from Split, Croatia to Mostar, and we booked using Flixbus. When we arrived, there were several taxis waiting near the bus station, and we grabbed one right when we got off. For us, it was an €8 ride right to our Airbnb, and despite our driver being quite friendly, we ultimately learned we were probably overcharged. We had our Airbnb host arrange our return taxi, and it was just €2 to get from the old town to the bus station. So maybe use this as a benchmark for how much to expect. We've heard that it's required for taxis to turn on their meter to display the running fare, so be sure to ask them to turn on the meter when you get in the cab to avoid being overcharged like us. There's also a chance your bus will drop you off at the East bus station, which is next to the train station, and only a 15-minute walk to the old town. So you might be able to walk and avoid taxis altogether.
Despite several of Bosnia and Herzegovina's neighboring countries being on the euro, the official currency here is the Bosnia-Herzegovina convertible mark, or KM for short. Thankfully, 2 KM is roughly €1, so you can easily just divide the price in half to calculate how much something costs in euros. Many of the shopkeepers in the old town often accept euros, as did our taxi driver, so you might be able to get by without taking out much local currency. However, it's useful having some local currency if you plan on spending money in the old town. This is particularly true as many restaurants and shops are cash only, and we found plenty of places did not accept credit cards. Luckily, there are several ATMs in the old town to stock up on cash. When it comes to tipping, it's important to note that tipping is not an expectation in Mostar. But if you were impressed with the service, it's still a kind gesture to round up your bill or leave your waiter a few marks.
Mostar has a uniquely blended demographic, which is part of what makes this such a dynamic city. Here you'll find both churches and mosques scattering the Mostar skyline, with historically the east side of the river having a large Muslim population, where the west side being predominantly Christian. And while Mostar's famous Stari Bridge serves as a symbolic bridging between these two cultures, there are a few cultural norms you can expect when visiting. For starters, you can expect to hear calls to prayer broadcast from Mostar's famous minarets at multiple times a day. The singing is loud and creates a dynamic atmosphere as the voices bounce off the city's walls. Each call to prayer lasts several minutes, and the exact prayer times change each day. We'll link this website below that showcases the daily prayer times for each day in Mostar. Additionally, some men will avoid physical contact with women in public. We learned this when I went in for a handshake to thank a very kind waiter, and the shake was politely refused. So don't be offended if this happens to you, and can be a sign of respect in Mostar.
We went to Mostar in mid-September, arriving around September 13th and had great weather. It was warm enough for people to still be jumping off the bridge, but we felt the crowds were rather tame. It did get a little hot at midday, but we would take this over being cold. We never ran into a problem getting a table at a restaurant and were able to score some great views for our meals. Summer is the main tourist season, so you can expect the old town to be more crowded during these peak travel months, but we've heard this is a great time to travel there as well.
We stayed in Mostar for 2 nights and documented every Bosnian mark we spent. In total, we spent just over $200, which included our lodging for 2 nights, eating out most meals, and tickets for Michael to climb one of the city's amazing minarets. Oh, and an ice cream cone for Michael to keep him quiet. So while it's clearly possible to spend more, use this as a reference if you're trying to see Mostar for a reasonable amount of money.
When you're deciding where to stay, we recommend staying in Mostar's old town to admire the city's architecture and rich history. We stayed in this Airbnb, which offers probably the best view of the skyline and had a private terrace and an amazing view of the Stari Most. The host of this place was incredibly nice, and we would 100% recommend this place to future travelers. We'll link the exact Airbnb we stayed at in the description box below. Seriously, we wish we could live here. It was so nice.
So we're in our Mostar Airbnb right now, and we wanted to give you a look around because we absolutely love it here. We've been here for a couple days now, and honestly we've decided we could definitely live here. It is so nice. Here's the kitchen. As you can see, it's pretty spacious, plenty of room for cooking and anything you might need. We've had a couple Airbnbs on this trip where you literally can't move your arms in the kitchen, so this is plenty big for us. We have a nice little dining area here too, which we haven't used too much because we've been spending the majority of our time in this room. And obviously you can see why. The view here is absolutely amazing. I honestly don't know how any Airbnbs would have a better view than this. Here you can see the old bridge in Mostar, and we're even able to see people jumping off of the bridge. It's also really pretty at night whenever all the lights go up on the town. We've spent so much time just sitting here enjoying the view and seeing the bustling of the town with people coming in during the morning for their day trip and leaving at night. It is just dreamy, but let's move on to the rest of the Airbnb here. So this is the bedroom, has a nice king bed. And what's nice too is these windows are actually pretty thick. If you didn't know this, in Mostar, there's a lot of call to prayers that happen at specific intervals during the day. One of the intervals is at 4 a.m. And so we were happy that these windows are actually thick enough that that didn't wake us up. So moving on into the bathroom, there is a washer, which we were really excited about. And then there's also a giant bathtub. And there's a really nice shower here with a rainfall shower head. Let's move on to the patio outside. There's a dining area out here as well. And then once again, the best view of the old bridge. When we were on top of the bridge, we could actually see the Airbnb front and center basically. So we're pretty sure this is one of the best views you get. And we have two nice little high chairs for sipping some morning coffee and watching people jump. When it comes time to actually enter Bosnia and Herzegovina, since this country isn't in the Schengen zone, you're going to need to go through immigration and customs. Our bus had us get on and off twice each time we passed through, and the process took about 30 to 45 minutes, so be sure to keep your passport handy when entering the country.
While many shopkeepers in Mostar's Old Town speak English, we found many that taxi drivers, grocery store workers, and other locals around town didn't, so it's important to know a few key phrases. Dobar dan means good day. Kreditna kartica means credit card. Please is molim te, and where's the bathroom is deje kupertilo. We found trying to learn the language was a great way to earn some good favor with the locals, so keep this in mind.
Bosnia and Herzegovina is world-renowned for their delicious food scene, and Mostar is a great place to try some of the country's most iconic dishes. We'll cover the top foods you need to try when you visit Mostar in our Mostar food tour, so we'll link that below if you're interested in seeing the best food this area has to offer, and some of the restaurants with the most magical views. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss that.
As we said at the start of this video, Mostar is one of our favorite cities and probably one of the prettiest cities in the Balkans. And there is tons to do here. We have an entire video walking through the top things you need to do when you visit Mostar, so be sure to check that out if you want to see the city's key attractions and top landmarks. So that's it for our Mostar travel guide. Be sure to give this video a like if you found it useful, and consider subscribing to our channel to see our upcoming videos. Next up, we're heading to Dubrovnik, Croatia, then off to several different locations in Greece, then off to Asia. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye. Before you click away, consider supporting our Amazon store. Courtney designed these packing cubes from scratch to make packing for days of the week super easy. We have a small size, which is great for summer clothes, and a large size that can fit just about everything under the sun. Your support means the world to us and Zeppy. See you, Zeppy.